Hello everyone. I haven't actually made a video in a while. I think last time I filmed was like 3 weeks ago, which is unusual for me. And I think that is because I have been dealing with health anxiety. So I'm gonna start this video off on kind of a serious note and just kind of talk about what I've been going through. First of all, it's kind of embarrassing. Like when you have health anxiety, it's embarrassing to talk about because when you think all of these things are wrong with you, people tend to say, oh, well, you're just being a hypochondriac. And yeah, maybe I am, but the feelings are real. Like the fears are real. Like I really feel like there's something wrong with me. But I thought, you know, maybe other people can relate or something. Like it's nothing to be ashamed of. But anyways, so it started about the beginning of December. I started having pelvic pain, like menstrual cramps. And usually I would overlook that because I'm a woman. I'm used to having menstrual cramps. It can be any number of things. But these cramps, they were different and they lasted all month long, and I was taking Tylenol and it wasn't helping, and the cramps just never went away. And not only that, but I was also feeling some bladder pressure, and it made me think that maybe I have a urinary tract infection. So I video chatted with one of those online doctors and they prescribed me some antibiotics for a UTI. Well, I took the antibiotics and I was drinking like tons of cranberry juice, and all day long for days I was just downing the cranberry juice and taking antibiotics or whatever. Well, after I finished the antibiotics, I wasn't feeling better. I still had the cramps and I was still feeling the bladder pressure. Now, I live in the United States and I do not have health insurance. So going to the doctor, or the idea of even going to the doctor, is kind of stressful because it's expensive. So I kind of had to bite the bullet and I was like, well, I've just got to go see a doctor. So I went to a women's health clinic and they diagnosed me with a bacterial infection and they prescribed me some antibiotics for that. And I was kind of thinking, like, I don't think that's what it is, because the symptoms that I was feeling, they weren't like consistent with a bacterial infection. I didn't have any symptoms for a bacterial infection, but I was trusting my doctor and I was like, okay, I'll take these antibiotics. So I took the antibiotics for the bacterial infection and I finished those. And after I finished those antibiotics, I kind of felt worse. Like my pelvis area was so sore. It was so tender. Like it hurt to walk, to laugh, to do anything. It was tender to the touch, and it started really worrying me. And I thought maybe it's just a side effect of the antibiotic. So I waited a few days and that did go away. The pelvic tenderness went away, but all of my symptoms didn't go away. I was still cramping. I was still feeling occasional bladder pressure, though it might not have been as bad. Like the cramps, they would come and go, but they were at least like every other day, and the bladder pressure might have been like once a week. But I didn't feel like the problem was solved. So I had to go back to the doctor, and they didn't really know what was wrong with me. So they scheduled me to go in for an ultrasound. And by this point, I was starting to really worry because I started thinking the worst, of course, you know, thinking maybe it's something sinister, like maybe I have cervical cancer or something like that, which is a really stressful thought because I have 3 kids, and the idea of like leaving my kids, you know, when they're so young, that was just, yeah, a scary thought, and it's almost making me emotional just talking about it. So I had a pap test done. Well, my pap results came back normal, so that was a relief. And I was thinking maybe it's like, you know, something else. Maybe I have bladder cancer or ovarian cancer, or, you know, it's always cancer on my mind, or like the worst, something sinister is what I was afraid of. So I went to the ultrasound appointment. When those results came back, they were fine, kind of. I mean, I have like a cyst on one of my ovaries, and they said there might be like a endometrial cyst or something like that, and I can come back in 6 weeks and have another ultrasound. But the way that the lady was describing it to me, she said those usually don't cause pelvic pain, like, and it's something minor. So I was thinking, like, if it usually doesn't cause pelvic pain, then what's causing my pain? Like, is it something that maybe they overlooked on the ultrasound, they didn't see? I don't know. Or maybe it does cause pelvic pain. Maybe she's just wrong. She said it doesn't usually cause pelvic pain. Well, maybe in my case it does. Anyways, so after the ultrasound, you know, I had all the tests done, I had the ultrasound done, they didn't find anything sinister, so I'm just like, at this point I'm spending like way too much money on medical bills, so I'm just gonna let it go. But from going through like the thought process of maybe there's something sinister wrong with me, and like the idea of like leaving my kids behind, it took me down a path of health anxiety. So of course, when you think something's wrong with you, you start Googling all the symptoms. And so I start Googling every little symptom that I have. And then I start finding other things that could be wrong with me. So I recently have been short of breath recently by like the past 4 to 6 months. Now, I have asthma. And when I was young, like, my asthma was really, really bad. But when I went vegan, my asthma went away. It's like it cured it. And so I was like, yeah, going vegan cured my asthma. Well, recently I've made changes to my diet, which I'll talk about in a whole different video. And my asthma came back, and I was thinking, well, maybe the diet change is causing my asthma. And so that's what I was thinking forever, until I had the health scare. And then I started thinking, well, what if it's something else? What if there's something wrong with my lungs? And then you read all these scary stories on the internet about people dying from lung cancer. They didn't know they had it, and then, you know, all of a sudden they're diagnosed, and a couple weeks later they die. And so I started thinking, what if there's something wrong with my lungs? So it wasn't the diet change, but what if I think it is? And then, you know, I'm just like, you know, what if I wait until it's too late because I'm not getting this checked out? And then on top of that, I think I've always had a lymph node on this side of my neck, which I can feel. I've always been able to feel it and like wiggle it around. But Merrick and I, we were watching TV one night, and I kind of stretched and I felt my neck, and there was a lump on it, and it kind of took my breath away. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, what's wrong with this lymph node? Do I have lymphoma? You know, so then I start thinking, I have lymphoma. And I'm constantly feeling this lymph node, and then I think, like, is it getting bigger? Because I don't recall it being this big. And I couldn't feel it on the other side. I kept searching this side of my neck, but couldn't feel an equal lymph node on that side. Or I was thinking, what if I have lung cancer or something, and then it's causing this lymph node to swell? Like, maybe I need to go get a chest x-ray, or maybe I need to go get an ultrasound on my neck, or have this lymph node checked out, or something like that. Well, now the lymph node on this side, I can feel it just as much as this side. Like, I used to not be able to feel it, but now if I just run my hand down my neck, I can feel it. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, is this lymph node getting bigger? Or maybe it's just because I keep feeling for it, and then, you know, when I find it, I touch it, and it's making it get bigger. So maybe I'm just doing this to myself. So now I'm thinking, like, maybe I need to go see a doctor about these lymph nodes and my breathing problems, but also I'm still having the lady problems. And then I start getting headaches, and I'm worried about that. And pretty much every little symptom that I get, I'm stressing about it. I'm also feeling tired all the time, every day. I'm just so tired. You know, I don't know if it's because of my health anxiety that's causing me to feel just tired and worn out all the time, but then I also think, like, oh, I'm feeling fatigue, like that could be another symptom. So yeah, it's really stressful. And then at one point, my breast was feeling really sore, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, maybe I have breast cancer. So I'm constantly like feeling my breast, but I switched out my bra and I put on a sports bra and wore that for like a week, and yeah, my boobs started feeling better. So I stopped worrying about that. Though sometimes I do occasionally feel like around for lumps, and it's just getting to be a problem, honestly. I'm constantly feeling my body for lumps and stressing out. Blaine actually had health anxiety a while back, and I didn't understand, and I was telling him, just stop Googling your symptoms. Like, you're fine, you're young, you're healthy, there's nothing wrong with you. But now I understand. I have a bit more sympathy, even though he no longer has his health anxiety. But I now understand and wish I would have been a bit more sympathetic at the time, instead of just saying, oh, you're a hypochondriac, the exact same thing that I get frustrated and am afraid of for people to tell me. So yeah, I guess it's made me wiser. I now understand, like, when people are going through something that you don't understand, you should try to understand and be sympathetic, because what they're feeling is real. It also makes me think, like, you know, living so far away from family, what if something did happen to me? Like, I don't want my kids being raised way out here in Oregon just with one parent. So it makes me think, maybe instead of moving to Washington or Portland, maybe we should move back east, closer to family. I mean, honestly, housing there is so much cheaper. We could sell our house here and buy a house somewhere back east, anywhere back east pretty much, and live mortgage free or very close to it, and that is appealing. But the thought of leaving the Pacific Northwest hurts my heart, like leaving the climate and the scenery, all the nature, like the snow-capped mountains and the forests and the rugged coast. Like, I don't know if I could do that, and the mild winters. So I don't like that idea. I do like the idea of being closer to family, but I don't like the idea of leaving the Pacific Northwest. But anyways, so yeah, that's what I have been going through. I mean, do you guys experience health anxiety, or have you at one point of your life? Also, can you feel your lymph nodes? Because, like, just going like this, like, I can feel that lymph node. And sometimes when I look in the mirror, I think that I can see like a little bulge. But when I look at lymph nodes, it says they're supposed to be the size of like a pea or like a kidney bean or something, and that it feels like that's the size of my lymph node. But also Google tells me that you shouldn't be able to feel your lymph nodes, and so that makes me nervous. So I don't know if it's swollen or if it's just my normal lymph node. But anyways, I'm getting really cold outside. It's starting to rain, so I'm gonna go back in. And I actually thought about making a whole vlog today, but I don't want to make this video too long, and I feel like I've been talking for a really long time, so I'm probably just gonna cut this video short, and then I will make a vlog and a separate video, because I have some other things that I want to film, but I'll do that in another video. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this one. Thanks for watching. See ya.